Hello comic fans, here's Earl Grey, and these are comics that I haven't read for 30 years, and I've just recently reread them in the last week or so. Way back then, 30 years ago, when they came out, it was a different time, and somehow everybody thought an era has ended, the Cold War and the division between the left Warsaw Pact states and the Western states and so on, and then the Berlin Wall tumbled, and suddenly I was thrilled with all the developments and thought, these are topics of the past that Pierre Christin wrote about, and Enki Bilal drew all these comics that are rooted deeply within the history of way back then. It's a pretty unique series. I still don't know if this is really a comic album series, European style, or just a sequence of graphic novels. Maybe a bit both of them. Obviously, each story here can stand easily on its own. This is the Crusade of the Lost Ones, or the Forgotten Ones. The ship made out of stone. The city that never were. The sleep of reason, and the hunting party, or the chase hunt, or however. And they were created within a couple of years, way back then, starting from 1975. The Crusade of the Forgotten Ones clearly shows the style of Enki Bilal's art way back then. You can say it reminds you of Möbius, but with the same reasoning you can say Möbius reminds you of Bilal, because they were both, I think, like-minded and at the time similarly important comic creators. Of course, Möbius is much more cherished today. But if you look at these drawings here, this is heavy metal style, metal hurlant style at its best. In the beginning, these surreal, fantastic aspects are quite more prominent in the series, and the art is more psychedelic in a way, the colors in particular. The line work is more loose and still intricate, but a lot more experimental than in the later ones, as you will see. In the first story here, some guys, especially this one here, who is sort of an unknown revolutionary guy who appears in all these stories, a mysterious guy who holds these stories together a bit, but he's the only connection between these books. And in the last one here, he says just, I can't understand the world anymore, and which is a pretty good commentary on the development that communism and socialism, all the political thoughts that Pierre Christin still clearly favors and cherishes. Yeah, but communism's downfall until these years, yeah, that's documented in a way through this guy here. And I sort of like this first story a lot, where a whole village defies gravitation and floats through the sky and mocks the powers at work. And in a bit in the same vein is the ship made of stone, this is a very foreseeable story, I think, because, yeah, we have the bad investors who want to destroy a nice little village near to the coast and create this out of that. But they haven't figured out the eternal power of one long-bearded guy, a guy with a long beard, and Celtic forefathers and magic and stuff, which gives Enki Bilal enough reason to draw amazing art. I mean, Artsakh level art. So it gets crazier towards the end, but story-wise, it's yeah, as I said, it's pretty foreseeable how the story will go, and yeah, still a fantastic read. But the later stories here tend to be much more realistic. Yeah, story-wise, to be honest with you, more interesting. The city that never existed, maybe, is somehow in between, because it has some over-the-top fantastic elements, like this dream of this little boy here, which stands in harsh contrast to the social reality of the time here. And Pierre Christin, yeah, never forgets us to show us the harsh reality of the working class people and the poor ones and so on. And it's not fun. It's realistic, it's important, I think, but it's maybe not the stuff you, the escape story material that you expect from a comic book. This is really political, involved comics, long before our so sensible days today, where you're get enemies just when you take a woman as a superheroine or something like that. But this is here politics all over, from the first to the last page. And when you don't want to have politics in your comics, forget about that. On the other hand, these comics are the most political involved comics that I know of. So when someone wants to read a political comic or says comics are just escapism, give them one of these comics. And my particular recommendation would be these two ones here. I think they stand out for a lot of reasons: the Sleep of Reason, and the Hunting Party. Starting with the Sleep of Reason here, it's a totally depressing story about a group of ex-friends who fought in the Spanish Civil War, and to get together again to fight some fascist right-wing extremists, which sounds very unfortunately totally timely today. Again, something I've never thought of way back then in 1989, with all the euphoria going on in Europe when the wall fell down. Yeah, but I digress. This story here is about this gang of ex-soldiers who the war never had left them, and they fight, and they are willing to kill even innocent ones when they can kill these fascists as well, and until a certain point where they were unsure of their own role and they are lost in this modern world, and they see nothing has really improved, everything turns the same cycle, and they can't do anything about it, and they see how it all goes downhill for them, but they can't stop the mechanics when they are set in motion. So it goes all the way down. Not to say too much, you should read this. And you should read The Hunting Party, about political leaders of all from Europe meeting to hunt somewhere in wherever they have met, and the past is haunting them, and all of them had made their compromises and their atrocious mistakes and errors, and the art and the colors in particular fits these very these sinister atmosphere in which these guys here meet. And Enki Bilal's style clearly has developed into his typical Bilal style, and especially the way he uses color in these panels here to show the past of one of these protagonists here. Yeah, and it's a hunting party, and it becomes clear that they are not only hunting for animals. Let's put it that way. This book here is recommended above all of them if you're willing to give you some depressing read and some disillusion. In 1989 or so, I really thought this is something just for the history books, but now you have all these freaks that come out of their little holes and get elected as premiers or presidents or whatever, and they act just the same as these fuckers. Sorry. And to be honest with you, the guys here in Hunting Chase or the Hunting Party almost are guys with style. They are criminals, they are evil, but somehow you can see where it's all going, and there's this little glimmer of hope in the Hunting Party that turned into a fire. I don't want to say Winds of Change because I really hate the Scorpion song, but before I start to ramble all over, thanks for listening and watching. Goodbye.